is literally no natural light. It's a super gloomy day out. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning and it is gray outside. So I'm pretty excited to share some books that I've recently acquired during this time in quarantine. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the ARCs that I have received. The first one is The Lightness by Emily Temple. This one is supposed to come out on June 16th, so I'm really hoping I'm gonna get to read this one by then. I have barely started it. This is about Olivia, and her dad goes to a meditation retreat called the Levitation Center, but he never returns. So Olivia runs away from home and tries to retrace his steps. So she enrolls at the Levitation Center as a troubled teen. She gets a tight group of friends who decide they want to achieve this ultimate enlightenment, learn to levitate, and experience the lightness. It becomes apparent how dangerous this is, that they might not all survive. So this one I'm kind of on the fence about whether I'm going to like it or not, just because of the whole enlightenment thing. So we're gonna see how that plays out. What made me want to request this book, I think, was the blurbs. It's described as being really funny. It says, darkly funny, luminously drawn mystery that hits the bullseye after bullseye, language and emotion. The Lightness is a book I didn't know I needed and now can't stop thinking about. Swift, surprising, and utterly captivating. Oh, this is also a debut novel. Smart, hilarious new voice, she tells a page-turning story that's also a detective story. Psychologically wise and totally wise ass, all while being both cynical and spiritual. Darkly observant. So yeah, I am finding that I do like the writing style. I think it's beautiful. Hopefully I really do like this book. The next one is The Good for Nothings by Danielle Banas. I think that's how you say her name. Hope I didn't butcher it. I'm not sure what grade level this is for. Like, I kind of want to say middle grade, but like maybe not. I'm not sure. This one is expected to come out August 4th, and this is a science fiction adventure perfect for fans of Guardians of the Galaxy, Lunar Chronicles, and Firefly. So pretty much enough said on this one for me. So I was really excited to get a copy of this. This is about a girl named Cora who's trying to get into her family's business of crime when she gets picked up and put into prison. Her only way out is to make a deal to retrieve this treasure that's supposed to grant immortality. So she teams up with some misfit cellmates, which include a disgraced warrior from an alien planet, a cocky pirate who claims to have the largest ship in the galaxy, and a glitch-prone robot with a penchant for baking. And they also discover that they are not the only group hunting down this treasure. So this just sounds like a really fun misadventure. I'm really excited for this one. The next one is called Axios End by Lindsay Ellis. Lindsay Ellis is actually a YouTube creator. They call her a YouTube essayist. I'm really not sure what that's about. When I get into this, I am going to take the time to look into her content, kind of get to know the author a little bit more. This is also her debut novel, so that's always exciting. But this book, Axios End, is a science fiction. This is also expected to be published July 21st. It follows another character named Cora Sabino. I don't know what the last name was of the other girl. Cora Sabino finds herself with all of this unwanted attention from the press because her father's suspected hoax on leaking information regarding aliens and some government plot. So Cora is really upset by this, and she wants nothing to do with her dad. She is really caught in this tough situation, but she eventually finds out that her family is more involved in this cover-up than she thought, and that aliens have been inhabiting Earth for decades. Also, I thought it was interesting that this book takes place in 2007, so technically it's in the past for us, and I think that's kind of interesting, so we'll see how that goes. So obviously, she decides to try to uncover the truth, and so this just sounds really good. I love a good science fiction. I'm always like looking for a good science fiction. Also, I love this cover. Like, I love that it's like retro looking. Like, it really reminds me of the glare on that, of Fahrenheit, of like this copy of Fahrenheit 451, War of the Worlds. So the next two books were gifts from my husband, which is like such a sweet treat for him to surprise me with these books. And the first one is House of Earth and Blood, which is the first in a new adult fantasy series called Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I have already read this book. This is actually a futuristic setting. We follow Bryce Quinlan. She's a half fae, half human girl, or young woman. I think she's about in her 20s. She's lost her best friend and all of her friends in a brutal murder. A couple of years later, Bryce teams up with an angel named Hunt to investigate the crime, but they find a much bigger plot. Posted a video about all my feels. It is spoilery, but I loved this book so much. So yep. And the second one, again, I have already read this book and I have already filmed like a vlog and my feels on all of it, but this is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. It is the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. It is an origin story about snow and it takes place during about the 10th Hunger Games. I really enjoyed this book. I think it's getting some mixed reviews. It wasn't exactly what a lot of people were expecting. It was really nice to get this book. The next one I got was Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. This is a collection of short stories. I am so excited to read this. I think that I'm really gonna enjoy it. I know that Simon is in this. I believe that Simon is on the cover. A little bit of a spoiler for myself. I don't know how he winds up as a downworlder into the Shadowhunter Academy, but I guess that I will end up finding that out. But I was so excited to get the hardcover as well. It was only like $2 more to get the hardcover versus the paperback off of Amazon. Beautiful book to add to my Shadowhunter shelf, my Shadowhunter collection. The next ones I'm going to share are books that I've just accumulated from random places, and the first one is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I guess this is like a dark satirical novel. I think it's like a modern classic as well, about a utopian futuristic society. I'm all about those. I think they're really fascinating. I don't know too much more about this book. Yeah, I'm excited to be a proud owner of this book. The next one I have is called Doreen by Ilana Monaster. I feel like I butchered that name. I'm sorry. This is a modern retelling of the picture of Dorian Gray, but instead of using a painting, it's using like a cell phone picture, I think. I'm really intrigued by this, but I have not read the picture of Dorian Gray. I would really like to do that. I love all the modern retellings. The next one is called Mr. Rochester by Sarah Shoemaker. You probably know that Mr. Rochester is our love interest from Jane Eyre. Yeah, so as we know, Mr. Rochester is a very complex character. This tells his story, I think, from when he's a young boy and the story of his mom and everything, so I'm really excited about this. And finally, the last book I've got is called The Unit. Can't believe that I found a copy of this. This is, I believe it's one of her favorites of Kat at Brews and Reviews. At least I know she recently talked about this book and it sounded so good, so I was just baffled when I found a copy of it. But this is basically a utopian society book where these outsiders live in the unit. They're treated really nice, they live cushy lives, making their lives easier than what they would have been. And they have a purpose and they can give back to society by submitting to drug and psychological tests as well as organ donations until finally their last organ. So ultimately they realize that their life is short-lived, but I guess on the alternative they decide that this is the best option for them. At least they get to be treated well and live a good life, even if it's shorter. But Dorrit, our main character, meets a resident that she winds up in love with, and then she cannot bear the thought of ending her life sooner. So sounds super good. And that wraps up all the books that I have recently acquired during this quarantine time. Thanks for watching. Bye.